That's a better politics. That's how we start rebuilding trust. That's how we move this country. Forward. That's what the American people want. And that's what they deserve. I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda I know because I won both of them. My only agenda for the next 2 years is the same as the one I've had since the day I swore an oath on the steps of this Capitol to do what I believe is best for America. If you share the broad vision I outlined tonight, I ask you to join me in the work at hand. If you disagree with parts of it, I hope you'll at least work with me where you do agree. And I commit to every Republican here tonight that I will not only seek out your ideas, I will seek to work with you to make this country stronger. Because I want this chamber, I want this city to reflect the truth that for all our blind spots and shortcomings, we are a people with the strength and generosity of spirit to bridge divides. To unite in common effort, to help our neighbors, whether down the street or on the other side of the world. I want our actions to tell every child in every neighborhood, your life matters. And we are committed to improving your life chances as committed as we are to working on behalf of our own kids. I want future generations to know that we are a people who see our differences as a great gift. That we're a people who value the dignity and worth of every citizen, man and woman, young and old, black and white. Latino, Asian, immigrant, Native American, gay, straight, Americans with mental illness or physical disability. Everybody matters. I want them to grow up in a country that shows the world what we still know to be true. That we are still more than a collection of red states and blue states, that we are the United States of America. I want them to grow up in a country where a young mom can sit down and write a letter to her president. With a story that sums up these past 6 years, it's amazing what you can bounce back from when you have to. We are strong. Tight-knit family who's made it through some very, very hard times. My fellow Americans, we, too, are a strong, tight-knit family. We, too, have made it through some hard times. "15 years into this new century, we have picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves off. And begun again the work of remaking America. We have laid a new foundation. A brighter future is ours to write. Let's begin this new chapter together and let's start the work right now." Thank you. God bless you. God bless this country we love. Thank you. Barack Obama. Address in Strasbourg Town Hall. Delivered April 3, 2009, Rena Sports Arena. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Bon après-midi. And Guten Tag. It is a great honor for me to be here in Europe. To be here in Strasbourg. I want to make just a few acknowledgements. I want to thank the President of France, Nicolas Sarkozy, for being such a terrific friend. I want to thank his wife, Madame Sarkozy. They just hosted us at the palace and could not have been more gracious. I want to thank the charge d'affaires, Mark Pekala, and his wife, Maria. Who were helping to organize us, Vincent Carver, who's the Consul General in Strasbourg. And I want to thank the Mayor of Strasbourg, Roland Ries, for his hospitality. It is wonderful to be here with all of you and to have an opportunity not only to speak to you but also to take some questions. You know, oftentimes during these foreign trips you see everything from behind a window. And what we thought was important was for me to have an opportunity to not only speak with you but also to hear from you. Because that's ultimately how we can learn about each other. But before I take some questions, I hope you don't mind me making a few remarks about my country and yours. The relationship between the United States and the relationship between Europe. Strasbourg has been known throughout history as a city at the crossroads. Over thousands of years, you straddled many kingdoms and many cultures. Two rivers are joined here. Two religions have flourished in your churches. Three languages comprise an ancient oath that bears the city's name. You served as a center of industry and commerce, a seat of government and education. Where Goethe studied and Pasteur taught and Gutenberg imagined his printing press. So it's fitting because we find ourselves at a crossroads as well, all of us, for we've arrived at a moment where each nation and every citizen must choose at last how we respond. to a world that has grown smaller and more connected than at any time in its existence. We've known for a long time that the revolutions in communications and technology that took place in the 20th century would hold out enormous promise for the 21st century, the promise of broader prosperity and mobility. Of new breakthroughs and discoveries that could help us lead richer and fuller lives. But the same forces that have brought us closer together have also given rise to new dangers that threaten to tear our world apart, dangers that cannot be contained by the nearest border or the furthest ocean. Even with the Cold War now over, the spread of nuclear weapons or the theft of nuclear material could lead to the extermination of any city on the planet. And this weekend in Prague, I will lay out an agenda to seek the goal of a world without nuclear weapons. We also know that the pollution from cars in Boston or from factories in Beijing are melting the ice caps in the Arctic. And that will disrupt weather patterns everywhere. The terrorists who struck in London, in New York, plotted in distant caves and simple apartments much closer to your home. And the reckless speculation of bankers that has new fueled a global economic downturn. That's inflicting pain on workers and families is happening everywhere all across the globe. The economic crisis has proven the fact of our interdependence in the most visible way yet. Not more than a generation ago, it would have been difficult to imagine that the inability of somebody to pay for a house in Florida could contribute to the failure of the banking system in Iceland. Today, what's difficult to imagine is that we did not act sooner to shape our future. Now, there's plenty of blame to go around for what has happened, and the United States certainly shares its blame for what has happened. But every nation bears responsibility for what lies ahead, especially now, for whether it's the recession or climate change. Or terrorism, or drug trafficking, poverty, or the proliferation of nuclear weapons. We have learned that without a doubt there's no quarter of the globe that can wall itself off from the threats of the 21st century. The one way forward, the only way forward, is through a common and persistent effort to combat fear. And want wherever they exist. That is the challenge of our time, and we cannot fail to meet it, together. Now, we take for granted the peace of a Europe that's united. But for centuries Strasbourg has been attacked and occupied and claimed by the warring nations of this continent. Now, today in this city, the presence of the European Parliament and the Council of Europe stand as symbols of a Europe that is united, peaceful and free. Now, we take this peace and prosperity for granted. But this destination was not easily reached, nor was it predestined. The buildings that are now living monuments to European unity were not drawn from simple blueprints. They were born out of the blood of the first half of the 20th century and the resolve of the second. Men and women had to have the imagination to see a better future, and the courage to reach for it. Europeans and Americans had to have the sense of common purpose to join one another. And the patience and the persistence to see a long twilight struggle through. It was 61 years ago this April that a Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe helped to deliver hope to a continent that had been decimated by war. Amid the ashes and the rubble that surrounded so many cities like this one, America joined with you in an unprecedented effort that secured a lasting prosperity not just in Europe, but around the world on both sides of the Atlantic. One year later, exactly 60 years ago tomorrow, we ensured our shared security when 12 of our nations signed a treaty in Washington that spelled out a simple agreement: an attack on one would be viewed as an attack on all. Without firing a single shot, this alliance would prevent the iron. Curtain from descending on the free nations of Western Europe. It would lead eventually to the crumbling of a wall in Berlin and the end of the communist threat. Two decades later, with 28 member nations that stretched from the Baltic to the Mediterranean, NATO remains the strongest alliance that the world has ever known. At the crossroads where we stand today, this shared history gives us hope, but it must not give us rest. This generation cannot stand still. We cannot be content merely to celebrate the achievements of the 20th century. Or enjoy the comforts of the 21st century. We must learn from the past to build on its success. We must renew our institutions, our alliances. We must seek the solutions to the challenges of this young century.